Hey, this is Jason with 4W Knives. Going through the scrap pile looking for something that we can make a couple of bushcraft knives. We're looking at making a large camp knife and a small EDC. Found this leaf spring, gonna have to cut it up. If you do this, be careful. It is a spring and it is loaded and will jump up and bite you if you're not careful. I made sure I cut the bracket off, weakened the bolt, and then went ahead and cut it off. As you can see, these leaf springs are pretty thick, comes over 0.32 inches. So we are going to fix that by heating it up and putting it in a roller mill. All right, so I thought I would show you where we're at on the build. So I have essentially split the leaf spring into two. I'm gonna make my smaller, a little bit more everyday type carry out of this piece. Of course, I won't use the whole piece, but and then I'll make my larger, more camp knife-ish out of this. It's still pretty thick, so I'm gonna thin each one down a little bit more. They're sitting at just under 1/4 of an inch. So probably want this one to be, oh, I don't know, maybe 0.20, something like that, maybe a little bit smaller than that. And this one, I want more around that 0.15, 0.16. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them back, run them on the roller mill. Okay, I wanted to show this just real quick. That is about 4, maybe 5 passes on the roller mill. You can see I lengthened that out another, what, 3 or 4 inches easily. So kind of gives you an idea of what that roller mill is capable of. I plan on doing another video on the how-tos on it, give a little bit of information on it, but that's later. I got work to do. So now it's time to get to forging. So I cut in the tip on both of these, so it limits the amount of forging that I actually have to do. I round this and then I get the width of the blade all the way down. I do forge in the handle on the big blade. I do not on the little blade. I thought it would just save some time. So you're only gonna get to see me swing the hammer a little bit on both, but I'd say the big one was 75% forged and the little one was closer to probably about 40%. So this is where we're at. Got them both shaped. I drilled the pinholes and some weight reduction holes off camera. I didn't figure you'd missed much on that. As you can see, at this point I usually take it and do surface grinding, but he wanted the natural hammer look, or forge look, I guess. So I'm gonna leave that. All I did was take a 120 grit belt and just kind of ran over it just to make sure it was pretty level. So now it's just about getting the bevels. I'm going to make this one pretty thin, cutting edge. I'm going to do a flat grind. I don't think I'll come up all the way to the spine, but I'll come close. This one, I won't come up to the spine, and then I will leave a little bit of the edge so I can do more of a convex grind on it. That way, if he wants to use it for chopping or something like that, it'll give it a more durable edge. So anyways, that's where we're at. All right, so as I take it out of the toaster oven where it has been tempering at 400 degrees for 2 hours, I did quench it. However, I forgot to turn on the camera for that. So here I am just going to do my finish grinding. I start off with this flat platen and an 80 grit and a 120 grit, and then I'll move to the rotator platen, which I'll explain a little bit more detail here in just a second. Okay, so I am fixing to start the big knife, and I wanted to show this rotating platen or rotator platen, not sure how you say it. Got this from Ameribrade. I'm going to use this to put on my convex edge on the large knife, and then I'm going to use it to fine tune or get all the big sand marks out on the little knife as well as the big knife by using this. So I wanted to show a little bit of that in what I'm doing. I'll show how this thing works in just a second. It has 3 settings. This setting here has a platen behind it with a rubber belt in front. That's what I used to do on my finish grinding now. It's got a nut that you loosen and it'll rotate by the name, and it's got a larger surface that has no platen behind it. So it is really good for doing that convex grind. Move the camera over here so you can kind of see the flex. So it flexes, which allows that convex grind. And then as you get closer, if I can rotate it, here it is. It's got the smaller surface, still has the belt, and again, it allows that slack. Not as much slack, obviously, as this one, but it does have the slack. So what I'm gonna do on the large knife is use this to begin with, and I will grind in my convex edge so it can be a little bit more durable. And then I'll rotate it back to the side with the platen here, where I'll do all my finish grinding, and I will do go through the series of the Trizac belts, and that really has cut down on my hand sanding. And when I mean hand sanding or cutting down on it, I can start with a 600 grit instead of the 220 that I used to start with. So that eliminates the 220 and the 400, which is great. So anyways, I'm sure you guys have seen these, you've heard of them, but just in case, I wanted to show. All right, so got that off. Not sure how well you'll be able to see it on the camera. I'll try, but I got it down to a pretty thin edge. It's not a 0 edge yet. This is a 120 belt. I will go to the Trizac 65 and then a 45, and that'll do my finish grinding. And I'll go ahead and I'll get this down to basically sharp doing it. So just thought I'd share. All right, so when using this rotating platen, this rubber backing helps prevent some of the, I guess you call it belt bumping. When you use the higher grip belts, they tend to bounce around a little bit, and they do not leave a very good, clean finish. That rubber backing helps with this. You do have to still make sure that you go slow. These higher grip belts will burn up a blade really quick. All right, we are finished up. Got the little one in the house, so won't be able to show the video coverage of it, but I do have some pictures coming. But just wanted to show off a little bit. I really like the way it turned out. I love the natural forged look. I think it's going to make a good one. Got it pretty sharp. Kind of turned the knife in my hand a little bit there, but it's sharp. Appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to look at the pictures here in just a minute. See a finished product. Appreciate it.